What is up? Guess what? The DNC is fucking on Bernie Sanders. And that is what we're going to talk about today. I'm Bob Ruff. I'm the Bob. That's Zach Weaver.
The Weave.
And we mentioned in last week's episode, which we brilliantly played, by the way.
Yeah, we got very lucky there.
We were going to, last week, continue our series on the political candidates, and we couldn't decide if we wanted to do Klobuchar or do Pete Buttigieg. And then we decided, well, we would do all the fringe candidates together.
Yeah.
And then we thought, tomorrow is Super Tuesday.
Yeah, no. Well, it would have been yesterday.
Right, yesterday, yeah. So,
Yeah.
But when we were recording, Super Tuesday was going to come out before the episode aired.
Yes.
That's right. And so we thought we better wait and see what happens with Super Tuesday before we start talking about any more candidates.
Yeah, because everything we're going to talk about would probably be irrelevant.
Yeah, because
And-
sure enough.
Sure shit. Everybody jump ship.
Yep. Days before, within 48 hours of Super Tuesday, the primary elections, we had Pete Buttigieg and Amy Klobuchar both dropped out and endorsed Joe Biden because the DNC is fucking on Bernie Sanders
Yeah.
real hard. So what we're going to talk about now is, so we're recording this on Wednesday, the day after Super Tuesday.
Yeah. Super not Wednesday.
Yeah. Well, there's going to be, unfortunately, there's going to be another round. I don't remember what they call it. There's Super Tuesday, and then the next Tuesday is another one. It's like mini Super Tuesday, which will be yesterday for those of you listening to this.
Mm-hmm.
But it's all right, because we're going to talk about what's going on. I think, like, I'm really, of course, I don't like either political party at all. Right now, the Republicans, it's pretty easy because Trump's just going to be the nominee because he's the incumbent. But man, the Democrats are making me mad.
Yeah, you said something today as we were discussing this like pre-show meeting here that I wouldn't have put together that I think is some good points. Like, so we were talking about Warren and how she's all but done.
Right.
So at the time of recording, she's all but done.
Right.
But she hasn't dropped yet.
And she's still saying that she's not going to drop. Now, she may by the time this airs.
Yeah.
But so this is what transpired in the days before the election. Okay, but Warren is getting pummeled. She's won. She hasn't placed above third in any state.
Yeah.
Including through Super Tuesday, and she's hanging in there. Now contrast that with Pete Buttigieg, who won Iowa.
Mm-hmm.
He placed well. He's got a few delegates, and then all of a sudden, right before Super Tuesday, he drops out. So I think both of those have to do with Bernie Sanders. The Democratic, the DNC, they are, I think, terrified of Sanders. I think they know that the nation as a whole in a general election, once you bring in all the moderates and independents that aren't affiliated with a party, like me and you, like I just don't think our country is gonna elect a socialist. You know, and he can't. He's got all these ideas and he's got some great stuff, and he's really appealing to the young people because he's telling them, I'm going to give you free college, I'm going to give you free health care, I'm going to forgive your student loans. But when questioned, he still can't explain how he's going to pay for all that, which is why I think the DNC is worried. Because so you got a guy running against President Trump who, you can't deny, you can, people do, but there's no denying the fact that our economy is thriving.
Yeah.
In the 3 years since he took over the presidency, I'll tell you, I mean, from my personal retirement accounts, I made 24% last year. If you think that's not significant, that's like going to make a significant life change to me. 24% in the investments last year. But the year before that, it was like 16 and it was like 14.
Yeah. So I'm going to stop you for a second.
Okay.
You said that the DNC is worried that Bernie's going to be their candidate.
Right.
Because you don't think anybody's going to vote for Bernie.
Well, that's what I'm getting at now is, so he's going to be running against this bolstering economy with a platform of, I'm going to do the exact opposite of what is happening in our economy right now.
And see, I almost feel, maybe I'm naive, but I almost feel like Bernie has a better chance to beat Trump than Biden would, in my opinion. Now, I don't think that the Democrats see it that way, and I felt that way last election, that I felt that Bernie would have done better against Trump than Hillary did, but the DNC just...
I think you might be right. I think it was... Bernie's problem is I think Bernie's a good guy.
Yeah.
And he's got ideas of what our country could look like as a socialist country.
Mm-hmm.
But the reality of it is, once everybody goes to the polls, especially that middle ground where it really matters, man, a lot of people don't. I mean, you're talking. For example, he just finally admitted because they always questioned him about because he's like, we're going to tax the rich, we're going to make the ultra rich pay for this.
Mm-hmm.
He finally admitted, no, he's going to be raising taxes significantly on the middle class as well. And so he's for anybody that's really looking, not just looking at the pie in the sky ideas of everything's free and we're going to share the wealth and go after these horrible rich people. Anybody that really pays attention is like, okay, wait, so with what you're going to do, my taxes are going to go up, which means my salary is going to go down.
Mm-hmm.
Surely unemployment, when you start taxing the rich people that are employing everybody, unemployment's going to go back up.
Yeah.
The housing market's probably going to plummet. Your 401ks are going to just do a deep dive after that. And the whole idea is to have a kind of this happy and a socialist environment where there's no competition. It doesn't really matter because everybody's just kind of on the same plane. Everything's fair.
Mm-hmm.
But for the people that are, have been planning for their life and their retirement for all these years, I just don't think people are going to accept it. And I think you might have been right in 2016 because the economy wasn't great.
Yeah.
And so, it's kind of at that point, people are looking like something's got to give.
Mm-hmm.
Obama did some things and the country was recovering slowly from, at that time.
Okay.
So it was recovering a little bit. But in 2016, the housing market still wasn't great. Unemployment was still really high. The stock market wasn't doing great. It wasn't a really good time. So Bernie's got this bright idea, and we're looking for some bright idea, right?
Mm-hmm.
But now running against Trump, he's and that's why I think it's a completely useless messaging by the DNC to say that the economy's not really good. It is.
Mm-hmm.
And so now when you're looking at under Trump's policies. Like my situation is not uncommon.
Okay.
I mean, many people had gains of over 20% in their 401ks in retirement accounts last year.
Okay.
In 2019, many, which is bananas. Like you're shooting for 6 or 8,
mm-hmm.
and you hit 20, and everybody's working. Just things are going well. So to tell me I've got a great idea, that guy's the devil, vote for me. And I'm going to do the exact opposite. I'm campaigning on the fact that I'm going to do the exact opposite of what he's doing.
Okay.
To me, I think that middle ground just won't accept it. I could be wrong. I'm certainly not a political analyst, but
yeah. No, see, and I've just always felt that way. I mean, as far as what I see, by any means, I'm not pro-Trump. I'm not. I'm very firmly planted in the middle. I don't know what the hell's going on, but just from what I see from outside, I just don't see. First of all, I don't see either of these guys beating him. But
I don't either.
But I feel like Bernie has a better chance than Biden.
Maybe.
But what the hell do I know?
Yeah, I mean, maybe the thing you got going with Biden, and by the way, I mean, I'm not a Trump supporter either. One of the things I'm the most pissed off about, again, I'm mad at the DNC right now, is because I really liked Amy Klobuchar.
Mm-hmm.
I also like Tulsi Gabbard.
Yeah.
Who's
That's
still
my girl,
in
Tulsi.
it. Yeah, but who's still in the race, but nobody's paying attention to her.
I mean, I keep joking that that's my girl Tulsi.
Right.
She hasn't ended her campaign, but she's got less than 1%.
Right.
I think she's been awarded one delegate.
Yeah. She's not spending any money.
And
She's not raising any money. So,
and to put that into perspective, she's been awarded one delegate for this as we speak, as recording. Now things could change, but Biden's already got 550 and Bernie's got 486.
right.
To put that in perspective, and you need about 1,900, well, almost 2,000 to win. It's 1,991.
Yeah, there's no way she's getting, and she's probably going to lose that one.
Yeah,
because so that was, which one was that? Was it New Hampshire where she won her one delegate?
I didn't see where it was.
But wherever it was, Buttigieg won the state, and now Buttigieg is out. So those delegates that are sort of were committed to vote for Buttigieg now have to realign, and I think that's one of the states where they'll actually go back and get redistributed, and then somehow I think ends up Sanders will get all of them, and she's going to lose that one maybe. But anyway, yeah, I think Biden will appeal to certainly the African American community.
Okay.
He was the vice president to our first black president. He just, but man, I don't. They're both tough. They're both tough to beat Trump for different reasons. And it's, Bernie is just running, again, it's taking something that's working and saying that your entire platform is to do the opposite of that is a hard sell. And there's people that are into it and they think it'll be great, and that's fine. I'm not arguing with you. In my opinion, I think I'm terrified.
Yeah.
I'm terrified because, I'm 41 now. I'd like to retire in the next 19 years. And right now it's like, oh, everything's going well. And I'm terrified if Bernie actually gets elected, I'm fucked.
I think so many more people are looking at the social aspect of it rather than the economic aspect of it.
Right.
And I think that's where Bernie is really shines.
Yeah.
People like him. People like what he says. People
They like his fire. They like his energy. And he's yelling at all of them that they're going to get everything for free. Whereas Biden is more moderate. I like Biden better than Bernie as a candidate because he's more moderate. He's closer to the middle. But man, I don't want to pick on a guy because I think I'm sure he's a very intelligent guy. But the dude can't piece two sentences together. I mean, every single day there's a new clip out of him. They call him Biden's gaffes. There's YouTube channels dedicated to all of his gaffes. He can't get it together. I do have concerns about, similarly to what I had with Hillary, the issues with his son in the Ukraine. I mean, we have. I don't even want to get into any of the impeachment, any of that stuff. But I mean, we literally have video of Biden saying that he forced the Ukrainian government to fire the prosecutor because they were going to, and withheld aid unless he did that because they were going to prosecute his son or the company that his son works for, or investigate that further. Like, and that's, do you take what they were accusing Trump of?
Yeah.
I don't know how you can be okay with that. There's some issues there, but the bottom line is the DNC, the Democrat Party, believes Biden has a better chance of beating Trump than Sanders.
Okay.
And so they're fucking on him. And the reason I say that, so look at Buttigieg dropping out. The first thing I thought, I was like, why the hell? So he drops out Sunday, I think.
So this is exactly what we were talking in the pre-show meeting that you put on me that I didn't think about.
Right.
Which was with Pete leaving. So go ahead.
So Pete's doing well. I mean, he doesn't have I think he had 40 or 50 delegates.
Yeah.
But everything, Super Tuesday is everything. There are how many, 1,000 delegates, something that come out on Super Tuesday?
Yeah, I right now there's been about 1,200 that have been declared.
Right.
Through this.
Through yesterday's, which would be last week for you guys listening to this. But so that's, basically everything's completely up in the air until that's why Biden wasn't, people were like, Biden might as well get out because he was getting his ass kicked in the first 5 primaries or caucuses. But he's like, no, because Super Tuesday's when everything happens.
Yeah.
And the new DNC rules are that as far as the delegates go, as long as you get 15% of the popular vote in a state, then you get a prorated amount of the delegates. Now, if you get 14%, you get nothing. And all the delegates get split up proportionally to whoever gets 15% and above. I believe Pete Shirley would have got 15% and above in a lot of these states.
Okay.
And I think Amy Klobuchar had a chance to climb there in a few of them too. And so for them to drop out right before Super Tuesday, immediately I'm like, something's up here.
Yeah.
That doesn't make sense. How much money are you going to spend? Because usually people suspend their campaign because they feel like they can't win, and they're spending people's money, and they run out of money that people are donating to them. It's a day away at this point. Your name's on the ballot. Just
run out with it. Yeah.
Wait and see what happens.
Yeah.
And they drop off. Well, and I think the reason is the non-socialist vote was getting distributed in every one of these primaries between the 3 main non-socialist candidates, which was Joe Biden, Pete Buttigieg, and Amy Klobuchar.
Okay.
So let's take, for example, one that he won. So Biden wins North Carolina, and he won with 43% of the vote. Now, what likely would have happened had Buttigieg and Amy Klobuchar still been in the race is Buttigieg, say, gets 15% of those votes.
Okay.
And say Klobuchar gets 10% of the votes. That's 25%, and that means Biden now has 18% of the vote. Still beats those two, but now he's got 18% of the vote. Sanders got 24%.
So he's in the lead there.
So that would have meant Bernie Sanders would have won that state and got the majority of the delegates because of Buttigieg. Basically, the non-socialist vote is getting distributed between those 3 candidates.
Seems very tinfoil hatty. We're going down this road.
I mean, really, this isn't that much. I mean, this is
Yeah.
this is basic science. I mean, not science is not the word, but it's basic politics. At some point, the goal is for the Democrats to win the election.
Mm-hmm.
People from the DNC, I'm sure, sat down and talked with Pete and with Amy Klobuchar and said, look, Bernie's going to get if you guys stay in through Super Tuesday, these delegates are going to get spread out, and Bernie's going to get a massive majority of them, and then we're screwed because they don't think that he can beat Trump. I'm not saying he can't, but they don't think he can beat Trump.
Mm-hmm.
So they get convinced, and I'm sure this is the tinfoil hat part. I'm sure there's all kinds of like if you drop out and endorse Joe Biden before Super Tuesday, you can be vice president. You can be in the cabinet. You can, we will reward you.
Quid pro quo.
Yeah, exactly. A quid pro quo.
Yeah.
And it's again, that's not wrong. It's not something uncommon, but it's just the way it's being done to me in the shadows. Just with Pete, I just decided.
Yeah.
That the best chance of us winning is for me to endorse Joe Biden, so I'm getting behind Biden. And then Amy Klobuchar does the same thing. I'm pissed off. I like Pete too. Pete had some policies I didn't care so much, but honestly, of the whole stage, I really like Pete Buttigieg. I think he's got a great personality. I think he's very intelligent. I like a lot of things about him. So I was bummed when he left too.
And a big thing with Pete for me, and this isn't the only reason to vote politically, is the age thing. Like, I'm not trying to be an ageist or ageism or
he's super young,
but he's young. I mean, he's on page with a lot of people. He knows what's going on. Some of these candidates, Bernie, 78 years old.
Right.
Biden's 77 years old. Trump is 73 years old.
Right.
By the end of the next term, Trump's at almost 80.
Mm-hmm.
If Bernie gets elected or Biden gets elected, they're mid 80s just by the first term.
Pushing 90
if they go 2 terms.
Yeah, like their expectancy as a president is higher than the average life expectancy.
Mm-hmm.
So it seems unlikely.
They could very well pass in this.
Right.
If Bernie gets elected, he's already had health issues.
Right.
Not to throw the guy under the bus, but he could very well pass before his first term's even over.
Right.
So I think about things like that.
So for you, that's one of the reasons Pete was he's like 35 something.
I thought he was like in his 40s, but
I think he's in his 30s.
Is he?
Tulsi Gabbard's also in her 30s.
She's 38.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, but it's something a little more appealing to me with the age.
Yeah, no, I get it. But it's so I was bummed out they left, but it's very clear the only logical reason for either of them to get out is because somebody at the DNC or the Biden campaign or whoever was like, look, if we keep splitting these votes, Bernie's going to win, and then Trump's going to beat Bernie, and we get 4 more years of Trump. So I think strategically it was a good move for the DNC, but they still fucking on Bernie.
Yeah.
And then the other piece of it, which I don't think anybody's saying but me, this is tinfoil hattie, Elizabeth Warren, crazily, is hanging out in the race.
Yeah, we were just talking about that. It is weird that she's not there.
She should have dropped out.
She's
2
all
weeks
but
ago.
done. Yeah, she's all but done.
Yeah, I mean, people with better, Buttigieg and Klobuchar, I think, were both doing much better than she was, and they got out of the way. But she's hanging on, and then after now, by the time this airs, she may have finally dropped out.
Yeah.
My prediction, even though she's the other socialist candidate with the closest similarities to Bernie Sanders, I almost guarantee you, if she drops out, she'll endorse Biden.
You think so?
I do.
Really?
I 100% do. Even though it's completely against what she believes, because Bernie Sanders lines up with her. It's a more logical choice. I know, but they've also been fighting with each other a lot, so those ties are kind of.
That's all this has been.
Right.
The last debate, we watched the last debate, the highlights of it, and that's all it was. They talked over each other worse than we do.
Right.
I mean, it's ridiculous.
As soon as they ask a question, everybody's raising their hand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then they talk about nothing. There was a highlight of, I don't even remember, without throwing anybody under the bus, there was one candidate that started to talk and another candidate that talked over him and didn't even say anything.
Right.
I mean, he was just talking nonsense, basically.
At some point, there's 3 of them talking at a time, and the moderator's trying to talk at the same time also. Yeah. But, the thing that would make the most sense if Warren drops out would be to endorse Bernie, but she won't. And I think this, again, is my conspiracy theory. I think she's staying in for the exact same reason. I think the DNC is convinced Warren to keep in the running.
To pull the Bernie votes?
Yeah. For the exact opposite reason of why they convinced Buttigieg and Klobuchar to get out because they're splitting Biden's votes. So get out of the way so that Biden gets all the votes. Now, on her side, if she stays in, all the socialists, if she gets out, surely anyone that voted for her is going to vote for Bernie.
Okay.
Because they're pretty close. Like if you like her policies, you like Bernie's policies more than you like Biden's.
Yeah.
But and it had the exact opposite effect. So let's look at where did I just do? Tennessee,
I think you did North Carolina.
North Carolina. Okay, North Carolina. So perfect example. So because they all dropped out, Biden gets 43%. Sanders gets 24.1%, but Elizabeth Warren gets 10.5%. So if she's gone, now Sanders would have had 34% of those votes and that many more delegates. And I'm sure there's somewhere. Perfect example, Minnesota. Biden won that state with 38.6% of the vote. Sanders had 29.9% of the vote. Second place, loses by, what is that? So he's basically 30, by about 8%, 8.5%. Elizabeth Warren got 15.4% of that vote.
Yeah, so if you really pull all the, even 10% of those,
then she
wins.
wins.
I want to say 10%, but
then Sanders wins.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I personally, I truly believe that the only reason Elizabeth Warren is still in the race is they're trying. I think she obviously got in the race because she wants to be president. But she has to know by now she's not going to be the president.
Yeah.
But so now it's like, well, we need a Democrat to be the president. And Bernie, by the way, Bernie is not a Democrat. He's an independent.
Yeah.
Who, as he says, an independent that caucuses with the Democrats. So the Democrats already don't like his ass.
Yeah, they've never liked him. It doesn't feel like.
No. And so now they're trying to stop him from. So I can absolutely see them convincing, or even on her own strategy, Democrat Senator Elizabeth Warren, who knows we need a Democrat president, to say, it can't be Sanders. So if I just hang out in here and just pull some of his votes away, then it'll drop him down. And because she stayed in it, I'm trying to look at how many of these that Biden won that Bernie would have won. Okay. Also, Massachusetts, which this is a pretty good indication. That's her state.
Okay.
She's a Massachusetts senator. She came in third place. But in Massachusetts, Biden wins 33%. Sanders, second place, 26%. Warren, third place, 21%. If she had dropped out before the race, Bernie now has 47 to Biden 33. So that's one she would have won. Texas was a close one. Biden pulls out with 34%. Sanders right behind him with 30%. Warren has 11.5%. Drop her out, Biden has 41. Drop her out. Sanders has 41. Biden has 34. Sanders wins that state. Minnesota, same thing. Without her, then Sanders would have won. Oklahoma, same thing. Biden with 38. Sanders with 25. Warren with 13. So Sanders.
So I see where you're coming from. This, I see where you're coming. It is a little tinfoil hatty, but at the same point, like
whether it's intentional or not,
it's affecting it.
Yeah, her being in the race probably cost Sanders the nomination.
Okay.
Because by looking at this which I see you subtly stopping me from reading every number on this page, which was smart.
Yeah, I'm so over politics right now.
But by her staying in, without her in the race, if you move all her percentages over to Sanders, Sanders damn near sweeps the nation.
Yeah.
And it'd be over with. So her staying in stopped him, and I don't think that's unintentional.
I could get behind that.
So they fucking on Bernie.
Yeah. Now, do you think if Bernie doesn't get the nomination, do you think he'll go independent? Do you think he'll still run?
I hope not. I mean, he won't win.
Yeah.
He definitely won't win, but what he'll do is he'll guarantee 4 more years of term. But honestly, for me, this is super not popular opinion. But for me, if these are our choices, I don't know that. I mean, as much as I don't like the man as a human being, I also have to vote my best interests. And I'll tell you right now, I will never vote for Bernie Sanders. Seems like a sweet guy. Love the guy.
Yeah.
Love it on the social issues, but I can't afford it.
Okay.
I cannot afford for what that would do to me personally. And that'll make some people mad, but I can't.
Yeah.
Biden, maybe I could vote for, but right now I have to look out. I have a wife and 4 children that I have to feed and support. And so I cannot vote against that best interest. And so unless Trump has some kind of social issue that is really upsetting to me, if he says he's trying to, which everybody said he was going to do, but he didn't, trying to, ban gay marriage or trying to bring stop and frisk to a national level or something, and the reality is he's done criminal justice reform. He's done bail reform. He's done some things that fit with what is important to me.
So what would the Democratic Party need to do to dethrone Trump? What do you feel that, because I don't know what it would be.
I think their best bet's Biden.
Okay.
And I'm not saying I won't vote for Biden.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'll see. I need to do more research and see how things shake out.
Yeah.
Biden certainly is more moderate. What I was looking for me personally from the beginning is the candidate that comes out and says, to me, which would be speaking honestly, which is, look, Donald Trump has done some good things with the economy. He's done some shitty things with the environment.
Mm-hmm.
And he's done some shitty things socially, and he's a douchebag. So my platform is, take the things that he's doing well in the economy. Let's continue doing those.
Okay.
Because they're working. But at the same time, let's start thinking about these environmental issues. If I was running for president, that would be my platform.
Mm-hmm.
So say he's deregulated a lot of things that have caused the economy to go up, but they're more of a health crisis to our environment. Say, okay, well, let's figure out a way to slowly back out of these things, make them safer while not dive bombing the economy. Let's use some of his good practices, but let's get somebody in there that has some integrity, because I don't think Trump has any.
Okay.
I think we had some people in the race that fit that bill.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think we have anybody now. I mean, Biden's closer than Sanders in the fact that he's not a socialist, which is the complete opposite of what Trump wants to do.
So one thing we haven't talked about at all, and this happened literally minutes before we walked in, was Bloomberg dropping out.
That shocked me.
That's really shocking to me. But how does that fit in? Because that's another New York billionaire running. I mean, that's the mirror of Trump.
Honestly, I thought that he probably had a shot at beating Trump, but he went a stupid way about doing it.
Yeah.
He didn't get in at the beginning. I mean, look at the numbers he got. So yesterday, I mean, he's only been in the race for a month.
Mm-hmm.
He spent $500 million of his own money.
And I believe they said that's the most that anybody's ever spent on their own campaign like that.
Yeah, and he's he wasn't even a factor in the earlies, in the early primaries. So he jumps in late, and he got what is that? Alaska, he got 11%, Virginia 9%, 13, 15, 16, 13, 8, 14, 11, 9, 20, in Colorado, 16, 14. I mean, he got a lot of votes quickly. If he had done it the right way and started campaigning early with everyone else, and was at all the debates at the beginning, and I mean, he might have had a chance. I don't know a lot about Bloomberg.
I don't know a lot about him either.
So he might have been. I know that one thing he did that I really didn't like was he was a big proponent of the stop and frisk laws in New York, which I think are absolutely racist and horrible. And then all of a sudden he tries to just back off on that. And I know he also has a bunch of sexual assault claims. A lot of people, Elizabeth Warren, to her credit, she called his ass on the carpet in one of the debates because he has all these non-disclosure agreements with these women that had accusations against him. And she said, free him of their non-disclosures. Let's see it. So I think he could have beat Trump, but I think it's because he's probably like another Trump.
Yeah.
But on the Democrat side.
That's how I felt about him. He's another New York billionaire.
Right.
That's just on the Democratic Party.
Yep.
And maybe he would have done well for the economy. He knows money, clearly.
Yeah, but I don't know what his platform was. I really don't. I should, but I never thought he was going to be a factor.
Now, do you think this? So this is sheerly opinion, and should never be a reason why you vote or don't vote for somebody. But do you feel like his media blitz turned it against him? Because, and I'll tell you my opinion right off the get-go, everybody my age and younger that can vote was over him because his ads were everywhere.
Oh, on social media, TV.
If you turned on YouTube, every video you watched on YouTube had a Bloomberg video, a Bloomberg ad. And you got to the point you're like, I'm tired of seeing this guy.
Right.
Now, that should never be a reason to vote for somebody, but it should never be a reason not to vote for somebody. You should know the facts, but I feel like people were sick of him.
It could be. It worked in one place.
Where's that?
American Samoa.
Oh, okay.
Which I didn't know was a place.
I didn't know that was a place.
I didn't either. So he won in Super Tuesday, won It's not a state. It's an unincorporated U.S. territory that apparently we've owned since the 1900s or since 1900. It's 6,000 miles away from the mainland. I guess it's like it must be over by Hawaii. It's like these 7 Pacific islands. They have a population total of 55,000 people. And he spent, now I don't know if this is accurate, but I heard that he spent like millions campaigning there for some reason just so he could get one win.
That's weird.
Because they have 6 delegates. And so he, and they don't vote much. They have no representation in Congress, so they actually don't have any electoral votes in the actual national election.
Okay.
But for the primaries, they do.
That's strange. And that's strange that they would vote. I mean, I guess he spent a bunch of money there. That's strange that they would vote for him over Tulsi Gabbard, who is Samoan.
She was born in America, the American Samoa.
Yeah.
And so when you say that it's strange they would vote for him, take a guess. How many people would you guess voted for Mike Bloomberg, which made him the winner?
So you said the population's 55,000, right? So let's say the voting population's half of that.
Okay.
So we're 22 and a half.
Okay.
10,000?
Okay, good guess.
Okay.
Mike Bloomberg won the American Samoa with 49.9% of the vote.
Okay.
175 people voted for him.
You've got to be shitting me.
Nope. And
he won half of the vote.
Yeah.
So
no, that's how many. So there's only 350 people, period, voted.
Well, I know that's what I was getting at. He won 49%.
Yeah.
So and he won 100 and whatever.
175. Tulsi Gabbard was in second, which is sad because she was born there. And I love me some Tulsi. She got 29.3%, which was 103 votes.
That's crazy.
Yeah. I mean, think about it. How motivated would you be to vote in a presidential election when you know you don't get to actually vote in the general?
Yeah. You're true. I never thought about that. But yeah, you're right. I mean, it doesn't matter for them.
Yep. So the one thing you mentioned earlier, without getting into, I probably already got enough people mad enough at me that I said that I don't know if I can vote for either of these guys. But I kind of want to get down to something that was confusing me, so I looked it up. So maybe it's confusing other people. Is how the delegates actually work.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know because I'm an idiot when it comes to this stuff.
So here's the thing. So there are a total of 3,979 delegates. Now, a delegate is an actual human being.
Yes.
It's a person that goes to the Democrat National Convention and casts a vote for their nominee. And so really nobody has any delegates right now. What they have are pledged delegates. So, whatever percentage of people in, say, Colorado, Bernie Sanders won Colorado, and so he gets however many delegates. Those are people. I don't know how they're picked, but I did read that they're like they pick people to be the delegates who they know are big time supporters.
Okay.
So they don't fuck on them when it comes to the convention.
Yeah.
Because they can. Because they're just
it's still a vote.
All they're saying is I pledge to vote for you. But they could go to the convention and vote for somebody else, and it would really piss off
everybody.
It's happened. So there's the 3,979 delegates, and then there are 771 super delegates, which those are like leaders in the party.
It's like Spider-Man and Batman.
Right, Superman, all of them.
Okay.
Now, these are like leaders in the party, Congress. I don't know exactly who they all are, but these are people that just get to vote for whoever they want.
Okay.
Which really, now this was just recently changed after the 2016 election, because that's part of how they fucked on Bernie last time.
Okay.
Was the super delegates way early when Sanders was beating Clinton. So she had a delegate lead. All these super delegates, like about this time in the process or a little later, came out and said, we're pledging all of our delegates to Hillary Clinton. So she gets a 700 delegate spike, puts her ahead of Bernie before. And so that was just one of the ways that the DNC fucked on Bernie last time. But they changed it after 2016. And now the super delegates are not allowed to vote to decide who the nominee is in the first vote. And I'll explain that here in a second. So what happens
seems confusing to me.
What happens is they all get together and they take a vote of all these 3,979 delegates.
This is the Bob Explains Politics to Zach's portion of the podcast.
So there's these almost 4,000 people, right? So they get there and they go through and they vote. Who are you casting your vote for? Boom, 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 boom. The super delegates have no part in that.
Okay.
Now, to the magic number is 1,886.
I saw 1,991.
Maybe that's changed from the article I was reading.
Okay.
Because the numbers do change.
Yeah.
But whatever that number is the because I did see 1,900 on the news this morning, actually. So that's probably accurate. That's not the one that was on the website I was reading. But whatever, so say 1,900. So as soon as one of the people, one of the candidates gets the 1,900, they've got it.
Okay.
They've got the election. And then they continue to vote. Now, they put this weird thing in. So if that number is between that and 2,267, or whatever the number you need to win is, plus the total number of superdelegates, if they win by less than that number, then the superdelegates aren't allowed to vote. Essentially, so they can't. But what's weird is, so say they get 2,300, they get 2,300 votes.
Yeah.
Whatever that number is. So they're guaranteed to win. So even if the 700 superdelegates voted for a different person, they would still win.
Okay.
If that's the situation, then the superdelegates are allowed to vote.
Okay, but they can't be the deciding factor
in that first round. Now, if no one gets to the magic number, the 1,900, whatever it is number, if they do all the votes, it's split up, no one gets to the 1,900, then it becomes a contested convention, which means everything's thrown out. All of everybody's votes around the whole country don't matter anymore.
Oh, boy.
They throw it out, and they take a new vote. And then all the delegates, including the 771 superdelegates, all get to vote for whoever they want to.
That seems like a shit show right there.
Right. And that was Bloomberg said that was his plan all along. Was he said he knew he couldn't win. The only way that's why I was surprised he jumped out today, because he had said just this morning, obviously the only way I can win is through a contested convention. Hopefully, take enough delegates away so that nobody hits the majority. It's contested, and then hopefully the super delegates and everybody vote for him and vote him in. And then 4 hours later, he pulled out and endorsed Biden. By the way,
yeah.
The Democrat Party right now is pulling ranks in. They're pulling ranks in to get behind Sanders because they think he's their best bet right now, and they fucking on Bernie because they don't want Bernie to be it.
Yeah. So you said Sanders, but you meant Biden. But I knew what you meant. And hopefully listeners knew what you meant, because that was good. You did a good job.
It was a nice little rant.
You fucked it all up. Words.
Let me just have a message to the Democrat people. Listen, there are a lot of independents like me that want you to put up a good fucking candidate. Stop it. Never mind.
No, do it. Finish.
No.
I felt behind you.
Honestly, I'm so frustrated.
Yeah.
I cannot express to you how much I don't like Donald Trump.
Yeah.
I can't fucking stand him. But I just why can't they put up, like, why does the DNC think their best move is to put the polar opposite up there?
Uncle Joe.
I don't get it. I don't get it. I cannot believe 2 election cycles in a row that this is the best they could come up with.
Yeah.
Especially because you had people out there that were, I don't know. The problem is, I guess, me as an independent, I'm looking at it like an independent, as opposed to the registered Democrats that are actually voting in these things that are voting. Because you're looking at guys like Buttigieg, Amy Klobuchar, Tulsi Gabbard, Yang wasn't bad. It's like everybody, literally everyone that comes across them, I'm like, I can maybe get behind them.
Yeah.
Then they're gone. It's just frustrating. I'm frustrated. I'm frustrated because I can see right now what November is going to look like.
So maybe I'm way off on this, but it almost feels like maybe the DNC feels that with Biden, they could possibly pull some of those right-leaning independents back.
That is their hope
over Sanders.
Yeah, because he is a moderate-ish. He's more, obviously, he's much closer to the center than any of the other candidates.
Okay.
Other than maybe Klobuchar or Gabbard. But he's, so yeah, that's their hope, is to, because the bottom line is, and that's why they're so scared of Sanders right now, is these primaries are a very different election. It's only Democrats voting. But the general election is won by the independents. You and me are going to be who decides this next election.
Okay. Man, that's scary as fuck.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's not just us.
Oh,
right?
Okay.
There's some other people that get to vote too. But, because
I thought we were just going to flip a coin in here in the room.
Right. Decide. But no, it's like we explained on like episode 1, there's like this 20% of diehard Democrats are going to vote for whoever the Democrat is. There's 20% of the diehard Republicans are going to vote for where the Republicans are.
Mm-hmm.
But it's the people in the middle, and that might be closer. There may be maybe 40%, 30% of people in the middle. They're the ones that are making the election. That's who you have to convince.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to convince a Democrat to vote for a Democrat. Just like you don't have to convince a Republican to vote for a Republican. You got to convince me to vote for either one.
Yeah.
And I just don't. I think they're doing a terrible job. I think they're out of touch. I think that there needs. That's why they need a Pete Buttigieg. That's why they need a Tulsi Gabbard. They need younger new blood to get in there and be like,
hey, old guys.
Nobody's liking this. You need something different. It's not working right now.
Yeah, I mean that's exactly like we talked about. You have these candidates that are all almost 80. They're not in touch with myself. I'm 35.
Right.
You know, you're 40.
Not only 80, but they're 80 in their, because I think you can be 80 and be in touch, but they're 80 in their career politicians.
Mm-hmm.
Like a lot of them have never had, a lot of them have never got dirty at work.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They've never had to shower after work unless they really wanted to.
Yeah. That was weird.
I know. Well, I almost said a very inappropriate joke. And
yeah, no, I was with you.
But you know what I mean? I think
hey, Epstein didn't kill himself.
Right, that's right. I've heard that somewhere. But yeah, they just, they're out of college. They're politicians. A lot of them, they're businessmen, they're lawyers, whatever. And boom, 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 they're into office when they're 29, 30, and they stay there for 50 fucking years. And they have no idea. Well, it's the same thing. Like I have mentioned before, I got a lot of friends that live in L.A. Love them to death. A lot of them are really into politics, and I'm like, you have no idea what it's like to be us.
Yeah.
You certainly don't know what it's like to be. When I say us, I'm just talking about like the people in the middle of the country.
Yeah.
The middle class.
The flyover states.
Yeah, the flyover states that are worried about things. Like if my 401k goes down, I'm not going to be able to retire because I don't have millions just sitting around.
Yeah.
Like I need that money. And you can't take another 10% of my money in taxes because I won't be able to afford to pay the fucking bills anymore. And I don't care if you're offering free college because my kid's not going to fucking college. I'm not saying me, but there's people out there that think like that.
Like me.
Yeah, you ain't sending Maddox and Sagan to college.
Well, one of them might go.
Yeah. But you know what I mean? Like they don't get it. It's all this kind of, I don't know. It's like this utopian idea of what they think people need, but they're just out of touch. It's not their fault.
Yeah.
I mean, like I said, I love a lot of these people. They're amazing human beings. They just don't. I don't think they get it. They don't understand what the rest of us actually live like. But they've got the big voice, so everybody's listening to them. Anyway, I just so you guys know, if you decide to stop listening to me because I said I don't know if I can vote for these people. I loved you. We've had a good run. It was nice. It was nice being with you. But no, I also want to make very clear to point out that for me, as that's probably the most political stand that I've made on the podcast. And if I thought through, I really wouldn't have said that. But I try to be really open, honest, and transparent. And I'm genuinely emotionally frustrated right now.
So listeners, YouTubers, everything. Bear with us. We'll get through this.
The views and opinions of Bob Ruff are not necessarily those of Zach Weaver.
100% accurate.
But what I was going to say is I love y'all. Like, I don't care who you're voting for. And I think that's what our goal was with this show. And hopefully that continues on, that for those of you that disagree with the opinion I just put forward, we can have a cool talk about it on the Bob and Lee fan page.
Absolutely.
And on whatever social media, or when we have guests or call-ins, or at some point we're going to do call-in shows. So let's just all be cool with disagreeing with each other sometimes.
And I have one thing to confirm since we're wrapping things up.
What's that?
Next Tuesday.
You mean yesterday?
No, yesterday. Shit. All right. Well, anybody that made it out yesterday, thank you for coming.
I did fabulous at what he's talking about. Remember last week we said on the 10th we were going to do this, the open mic night comedy club.
Yep.
We did it last night.
We sure did.
We hope we did it.
We did it.
Because we're recording this a week before. But
so if you made it out last night, thank you for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for joining us. Thanks for laughing at all of our jokes. As you guys saw, I did amazing. Zach ate shit.
It happens.
But we will put out on social media. And if you're watching this and didn't watch our social media and you missed it, then that's why you should be on our social media, which is at Bob Weave Pod.
Right there.
Yep. All right. That is all of our time for today. Zach, as always, thanks for being my friend, buddy.
Love you, buddy.
Love you too, man.